Colonel, the President is dead.
I see. I'm sorry to hear that.
Where do we go from here?
Your mission was to rescue the President and eliminate the terrorist threat. However, given the recent turn of events, we will honor the President's last directive. You must put a stop to Arsenal Gear once and for all.
Do you actually think there's any truth to his story about this big shell facility being a front for Arsenal Gear?
I don't have the security clearance necessary to verify the facts. However, he was the President. I'm sure he knew what he was talking about.
Aren't you forgetting that he was part of the terrorist plot?
All the more reason why I believe his information is reliable.
Huh?
We're talking about a man who chose to die rather than risk a nuclear holocaust. Thanks to his sacrifice, the Nuclear Launch Authority has shifted to the Vice President, effectively eliminating the terrorist threat.
Colonel, when you put it like that, it almost sounds like I should have assassinated the President to eliminate the threat.
That was not my intention. I was trying to point out that there is certainly some credibility to the words of a man who chose death to protect the innocent.
The Colonel has a point, Jack.
What about the information he gave me on the Patriots?
That's a new one on me. I'll see what I can find out. Raiden, we're running out of time. Find Emma. She's supposed to be located on level B1, in the core of that building you're in, right? You've got to find her before Arsenal becomes fully operational.
Hurry, Jack.
It's up to you to make sure that the President didn't sacrifice his life in vain.
Understood. Raiden out.
What's your status, Raiden?
Snake, the President, he's been assassinated.
What?
There was nothing I could do.
What about the nuclear strike code sequence?
He died before his vital ID could be reconfirmed.
Then the enemy's lost their nuclear strike capability.
But that Ocelot guy obviously killed the President on purpose.
Why?
It doesn't make any sense. They had to know that they couldn't launch the nuke if they killed the President.
Maybe there's a way to launch without reconfirming the vital ID.
Or maybe they found a more effective weapon within Arsenal Gear.
You knew about Arsenal Gear?
Yeah,
Why didn't you tell me about it?
you never asked.
Am I correct in assuming you also know that the Big Shell's a front for the project?
You mean, did I know that the Big Shell, a fully functional environmental cleanup facility, was designed to camouflage Arsenal Gear? Yeah, I did. It's exactly what the President and Ames described, a massive cover story. The good news is that it hasn't really done much in terms of cleaning up the environment, so we won't have to worry about any toxic gas being released if we have to blow the house down.
Right. And when did you find out about all of this?
It took a while, but we uncovered the info around the time you took out that mad bomber. There's no doubt that Arsenal Gear is being built here. Then it was all set up 2 years ago, on that day. All of it.
2 years ago. What really happened here?
I took these photos 2 years ago.
I know these pictures. They were on the news, on several websites. If I remember right, the reporters blamed you for sinking the tanker.
That's right. Otacon, me, we were used.
We'd hoped that by going public with photos of the new Metal Gear, we could persuade the government. At least that was the plan at the time.
2 years ago, the Hudson River. We had learned that a new Metal Gear model was being secretly transported. When I think about it now, we should have known better than to trust the information. I'd infiltrated the dummy tanker to obtain proof that a Metal Gear was under development. Shortly after I made it aboard, an armed group led by Colonel Gerlukovich raided the ship and gained control.
Olga and Ocelot were among the raiding party.
Yeah, and him.
Who are you talking about?
A man that was supposed to be dead.
Their target was also Metal Gear Ray. But Ocelot eliminated Colonel Gerlukovich and Marine Commander Scott Dolph, and he hijacked Ray.
So he betrayed them?
I don't know what kind of deal was going down. All I remember is what Ocelot said at the time. Something like, "I'm taking it back."
Ocelot then sank the tanker, along with the soldiers of the Marine Corps.
How did you manage to get out?
Otacon managed to have a small boat ready for me.
That was the easy part. The tough part was not getting dragged down with the sinking tanker. Small miracle when you think about it. It turned out that the whole thing was a setup to lure us. Photos of Snake, taken by the Cypher, were released to the public. In turn, we became the world's most wanted environmental terrorists.
It was definitely a move aimed at putting a stop to our anti-Metal Gear activities.
But why did they choose Snake?
Since the Shadow Moses incident, Snake became sort of a hero. I think the Patriots weren't too happy about that.
You knew about the Patriots?
Well, yes, to a certain degree.
It seems like everyone knows about them except me.
They didn't choose Snake to be a hero.
So they decided to do a smear campaign.
I think the Patriots wanted to make an example of him so everybody would think twice before opposing them.
That's it! They set all this up just to nail you guys.
No, there's more to it than that. The Marines' Metal Gear Ray project, headed by Commander Dolph, was carried out in opposition to the Navy's Arsenal Gear project. To be more precise, the Patriots considered Metal Gear Ray to be a thorn in their side. Hence, they attacked the dummy tanker and stole Ray. They followed this up with a perfect plan. They immediately sent a fully loaded tanker to the same location and sank it, then set up the facility to camouflage the development of Arsenal Gear.
And we fell for it. 2 more puppets in their show.
Colonel Gerlukovich and his daughter Olga?
Both fell victim to Ocelot's plot.
Was Solidus behind all this? He used Ocelot to get hold of Ray, huh?
No, he was underground, keeping a low profile at the time.
Then it must be the Patriots.
If that's the case, what's Ocelot doing alongside Solidus?
Forget it. We're wasting time. We can figure this out later. The nuclear strike's been prevented, but Arsenal still has a massive payload of missiles to deal with.
Right. If the opposition gets control of those missiles...
Raiden, you've got to find Emma.
Wait a second. Isn't Emma Emmerich?
My sister.
What's she doing here?
You got me. She's a computer whiz who specializes in neural AI and ultra-variable volume data analysis using complex logic. How she got involved in weapons development is beyond me.
Whatever her reasons, we need her in order to stop Arsenal.
Raiden, find her.
I'm on my way.
Jack, is that you? Jack,
What is it?
I've always been alone.
Huh?
I'm so lonely.
Lonely? Rose, we've always...
Not always.
What do you mean?
You've never slept beside me.
What are you talking about?
After we've been together in my room, you stay awake all night, or you head for the door.
Is this really the time to bring this up?
Why, Jack? Why?
Listen, Rose, I'm right in the middle of a mission and
Why? Why can't you relax when you're with me?
Look, the mission,
Why don't you open up to me?
Rose, I just can't.
All I ever wanted was to share your dreams, to spend a meaningful evening with you. I just wanted to find you by my side when I woke up. Is that asking too much?
It's the night. I'm scared of the night. It's got nothing to do with you.
Scared of the night? What's that supposed to mean?
I can't relax when I'm with someone.
Jack, you wouldn't even let me in your room.
I need privacy. I just can't be bothered.
Bothered?
Wrong word. What I wanted to say was that there are certain things that I have to keep to myself.
Do you remember that time I forced my way into your room? We'd known each other for almost a year, and you blew up. It was the first time you ever raised your hand against me. I was so worried about you.
Look, I'm sorry.
It wasn't your violent nature that scared me. It was your room, your heart.
Stop it.
There wasn't anything in your room. Only a bed and a small desk. It looked like a prison cell.
Rose?
No television set. No family pictures. Not even a poster.
Rose, I only use that room for sleeping.
A lifeless room. Almost like your empty heart.
That's why I tried to keep you out.
I thought I was beginning to understand you. Until I saw that room.
Would you have been happier if I had a picture of you hanging on the wall?
That's not what I was trying to say.
Enough, Rose. We'll talk about this later. After the mission.
Right. After the mission. I understand.
As the president mentioned, Metal Gear Ray was created as an anti-Metal Gear weapon. In the Shadow Moses incident, Ocelot returned with a disk containing data of the exercises that were held for Metal Gear Rex and the new nuclear warhead. What's more, he sold that data not only to the nuclear powers, but to other countries as well. Those nations that obtained the data have commenced their own Metal Gear research. Where does it go from here? What happens when the world is flooded with variations of Metal Gear? We'll probably be looking at an era similar to that of the nuclear arms race. That was one of the reasons we organized philanthropy. I understand that Fortune's father, Marine Commandant Scott Dolph, had the same misgivings. That's why he proceeded with the development of the anti-Metal Gear weapon, Metal Gear Ray. In fact, Ray alone can drastically redefine tactics when you consider its seafaring capacity to approach, strike, and break off from targets. I also believe that Ray was a solution for renewing interest in the Marines, whose role as a rapid response force has dwindled over the last few years. I did a quick inspection. Arsenal Gear's security system is similar to the antibiotic function of a living creature's immune system. Surveillance of the inner system is handled by periodic scans, using a number of agents with the capacity for detecting data that doesn't belong in the system. Once the agents detect any invading data, the information is passed on to an antibody production system. From there, a program referred to as an antibody agent is autonomously produced to neutralize or eliminate the invading data. Added to that, there's a solid barrier existing between GW's optic neural net, its physical and logical base, and the other general nets. Referred to as the bit-brain barrier, this wall is a filtering system for preventing the infiltration of foreign data. This security system makes it very difficult to attack the system from the outside. I'm afraid nothing can be done without sufficient preparation.
Colonel, I want some background information on Emma Emmerich.
I've got it right here, direct from the National Security Agency's personnel files. Apparently, she was involved in some sort of high-level project, but there's no details on that. Her record shows that she resigned from the agency 2 years ago. Emma Emmerich, full name Emma Emmerich Danziger. Members of her family call her EE. After divorcing Hal Emmerich's father, her mother took Emma to England and raised her there. Danziger is her mother's maiden name, but she prefers Emmerich. After returning home to England, her mother married Robinson, a businessman. The following details are from a report filed with the NSA when she joined the agency. Just before graduating from high school, Emma injured Robinson in self-defense during an alleged assault on her person. As a result of this incident, she followed in the footsteps of her stepbrother, Hal Emmerich, and left home to enroll in Oxford. It is believed that at this particular point in her life, she was extremely angered by the fact that her brother failed to protect her. Consequently, she lost all family connections and is very resentful. She seems to believe that her brother is to blame for everything. While attending Oxford, she was noted for her success in a deciphering event sponsored by British GCHQ.
They may not be blood related, but she sure sounds like Otacon's sister.
There's more. Raiden, do you recall a certain situation that's more or less become a legend among hackers? To refresh your memory, at the time, just about all of our nation's communications and information resources were concentrated at NSA in Fort Meade. In fact, NSA's basement facility operated round the clock to amass data obtained not only from public communications, but everything from satellite to wiretap operations as well. I don't think I'm exaggerating when I say that whoever controlled the NSA facility could move the world. On January 24th, in the year 2000, the facility suffered a total system shutdown for a 73-hour period.
Did they ever figure out the cause?
It's believed that a small group within the government had arranged the incident with the assistance of a notorious group of crackers. The result was a full review of NSA's safety measures, which in turn led to the decision to shift the data-gathering operations to an isolated location that would be safe from physical attack as well as cyber terrorism.
And where might that be?
My security clearance couldn't get me that information, but I did find out that one of the key members of the hacker group was none other than Emma Emmerich. Although she started off as a specialist in artificial intelligence and complex logic, Emma is now regarded as a computer genius.
That would make her a prime candidate for recruitment in the intelligence community, wouldn't it? And knowing most of the intelligence agencies, I doubt fair play was a major concern in their recruiting efforts.
Your assumption's correct. The government played on her weakness, her strong hate for Hal Emmerich, the brother who left her when she was 6 years old.
She hates him that much?
When she was 6 years old, Emma and her father were involved in a pool accident. She survived, but her father drowned.
What did the police have to say about that?
The report states it was an accidental death.
Isn't that about the time that Otacon left his home and family?
Exactly. But I don't have any idea why he chose to do so.
Does Emma blame Otacon for her father's death?
I don't think so. Her hate seems to stem from the fact that she believes Otacon abandoned her. You see, although the two weren't directly related, they were said to be very close. It's rumored that sibling rivalry was what launched her career as a hacker. 4 years ago, the government leaked her the details of the Shadow Moses incident. In doing so, they were able to recruit her for the NSA. I also have little doubt that they also used the NSA hacking affair as a means to convince her to cooperate.
You think that her hate drove her to frame Snake and Otacon?
That, I don't know.
Colonel, did you hear the truth about the Shadow Moses incident?
Yeah.
Snake wasn't a terrorist.
You look thrilled.
Huh? Well, yeah.
So you just believe everything that he told you then?
What did you say?
Don't trust him. He isn't in the simulation.
Simulation again. What exactly are you talking about?
Don't put your trust in him. Just carry out your duties to the best of your abilities. Do you understand, Raiden?
Colonel, why did Ocelot murder the president?
They disagreed, probably.
Exactly the same
What?
as the Shadow Moses incident.
Don't be foolish.
Are you sure about that? Aim's death, appearance of the ninja, the president's death, and now the virus.
You're reading too much into things.
That's right, Jack. You're tired.
Raiden, don't waste your time thinking unnecessary thoughts. Invest all your energy instead in carrying out your duties.
Colonel, did you find anything about the Patriots?
No, not yet.
I can't find data on them anywhere.
But the president is...
Jack, there is no data.
Colonel, you know something, don't you?
No, I don't know anything. I need a little more time.
The Shell 2 core is where the actual filtration system resides, or at least it used to. Now it's just a shadow of its former self. Here, water mixed with crude oil was filtered using antagonist bacteria in the microbial decomposition of hydrocarbons. Below the first floor basement is a gigantic vat for this purpose. What happened was that this vat broke and flooded the floor. The first floor, which is not flooded, houses the air purification facility that eliminates the stench from the polluted water. Manhattan is right in our backyard here, you know. There's plenty of reason to be cautious.
The punch is the basis of hand